You know, dating and relationships can be really complicated, and what you see on screen is never the whole story. So today I'm going to react to some videos of relationships from Bollywood.
Please sit, please.
तुझे तो प्यार हो गया है पगली है।
हाँ वेद।
पर किसी और से। तू किसी और की जागीर है जाने। फौरन लिसन टू मी। मुझे ना बिल्कुल भरोसा नहीं है कि मैं कैसे रिएक्ट करूंगा। तो मैं चला जाता हूँ।
ये क्या करते हैं? I'm really sorry.
I think that in all of the scenes in Bollywood, I think that's the worst one. And I'll tell you why I think it's the worst one. It's not just because of the violence that it portrays, but the emotional manipulation that comes with it. So many times you have the violence, the rape scenes, etc., that are portrayed, which are very obviously bad. You can relate to them. This one comes with all of the emotional manipulation, the guilt, the total madness of a dysfunctional mind, which is then supposed to be something that the partner has to feel bad about not accepting. As the partner, you're not even allowed to react. You have to take it, and then you have to apologize for being normal and not liking that. It sends shivers up my spine every time I watch this particular scene. I just think it's so horrible. Yes, there are dysfunctional people who behave like this. There are people who will actually make the other person, their partner's life, a living hell with their behavior. But instead of showing this to be really bad and showing the consequences of it, we in Bollywood have decided to reward this kind of behavior and thereby making this part of regular behavior, part of a pattern that is supposed to be acceptable. You wouldn't believe the number of emails and messages that I get from young girls saying that they're in this terrible abusive relationship and they can't get out of it because the reaction of everybody else around, particularly their families, is तुम्हें मारता तो नहीं है, हाथ तो नहीं उठाता तुम पर, तुम्हें गाली तो नहीं देता, तुम्हें पैसे दे देता है ना जब भी तुम्हें चाहिए. So it's not as if he's denying you anything, but the idea that they can treat you so badly by just that little bit of emotional manipulation, they can make you feel like you actually just want to kill yourself. I mean, look at this particular scene. He's clearly got issues. Is he shown as going to a psychiatrist to see somebody for help? No. Is he shown as someone who's receiving some kind of emotional or behavioral help from somebody else? No, it's just up to the partner to put up with it. Partners are not professional psychiatrists. They're not trained to deal with this kind of stuff. So you end up becoming the victim of this relationship. And it's not even something that you're allowed to talk about because you have to portray that you're in a relationship, you love your partner, and you have to put up with everything that they do to you. You know, if this was to actually happen to a girl in real life, she would not want to stay with the guy at all, and she shouldn't have to. This is absolutely the shittiest thing that you can portray. And then to carry on and tell people that it's all right to be like this, that's the most irresponsible thing that you can do.
Shit. I'm sorry.
प्यार का पहला शगुन है और सजा भी मिल गई. इस हाथ ने गुस्ताखी जो की.
So that particular song reminds me of this game that we used to play as children called Statue. Some people would get to run around as much as they wanted. They could pretty much be who they were, and then some people who got identified had to become a statue. You couldn't do anything, not even have an expression on your face. You couldn't be yourself. You had been turned into stone. You know, the Bollywood romances just remind me of that. Girl has absolutely no agency. She's not allowed to have any kind of expression. She's not allowed to fall in love. She's not allowed to be anything except property who's actually supposed to sit there. She's told who she can love. She's told who she can't love. She's told who she can be with, where she can be with somebody, who she can talk to. You're not even allowed to express that you might like somebody because wo izzat ka sawal ho jata hai. So you cannot even have the freedom of choice in your own head to like someone. I find these particular scenes so problematic. Then of course there is that famous line of hers where she says, "हाँ और देखो इस हाथ को सजा भी मिल गई." So the idea that love is always supposed to be some kind of violence and misery and punishment, we've kind of associated that with the idea of love. Love is no longer a joyous, happy, wonderful thing to experience, but something that has to come with misery and violence and unhappiness. So, that idea has now become part of the bedrock of our thinking. Also, have you noticed the narrative in Bollywood? The girl falls in love, following her own heart. Immediately, she is told by her father कि तुमने तो मेरी इज्जत मिट्टी में मिला दी. You cannot be with this boy क्योंकि ये गरीब है, इसकी नौकरी अच्छी नहीं है, इसके parents are not of the right social status. Immediately, she has to be pulled out of that relationship, and she is made to be with a guy who's richer, who has a bigger car, who has a bigger house, whose parents are at a better social position. This whole idea that girls fall in love with somebody from their heart, that's been negated. It's actually been changed into this idea that girls can only be with somebody who's
rich and important and of the right social status.
That's been put upon us by all the patriarchal and Bollywood narratives. We kind of go around saying girls are gold diggers, they want to be with somebody richer. That hasn't come from within us. That's actually been put upon us thanks to the Bollywood narrative, thanks to the patriarchy narrative. So if you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, do take a look at some of my previous videos where I react to Bollywood scenes and give my take on them.